Howdy, folks. I'm going to bring you a story time episode that is not pleasant. Matter of fact, I can almost promise you I'm going to get choked up talking about this. But if you haven't figured out yet, I have the utmost respect for law enforcement. It's especially in today's times, it's a much unappreciated job that really is needed in society. So I once lived in Bear, Delaware. My father passed away, and I moved into his house for a short period of time. And I used to go to a Wawa convenience store. For those of you in different parts of the country, it's like a really classy, upscale convenience store. It was founded by Governor Pete DuPont's wife, Elise DuPont. And they're really big now all over the place. They're all over Florida right now. And they're I don't know how, but they were based out of Pennsylvania, Westchester, Pennsylvania. And then they spread Delaware, New Jersey, all over the place. So let's get back to the story there. All right. So I used to go to that Wawa store in Bear, Delaware. It was Salem Church Road, I believe is what it was called, and Route 40, which is Pulaski Highway. So something very tragic happened on May 26, 2017, I believe was the date. There was Delaware State Trooper gets called to that convenience store for a couple people acting, they were doing something suspicious in a vehicle. It would have been the north side of the store. There was like a L-shaped parking lot, so to speak. And so they were parked on that side. So Corporal Ballard gets out to approach them, and the one of two individuals gets out, starts running, then turns and returns fire on Corporal Ballard. And the other fellow stayed put. And if I remember correctly, I don't remember all the details, but I think it was like a drug transaction going down or something like that. Don't quote me on these details, but the main gist of the story is the Corporal Ballard ended up expiring, trying to protect citizens of Delaware. So he ends up, the guy runs, and I forget all the scenario, but they were able to ascertain that the guy made it to Middletown, Delaware. I think his family lived there. Really nice house in Middletown. Really nice house. I forget how they put all these things together. It's been so long, and sometimes when there's a tragedy, you kind of put it out of your memory. It stays there for a while, and then after a while, you almost block it out. But they were able to ascertain that he did take up, I guess you could say, barricaded himself at this house. I think it was his parents' house, if I'm not mistaken. And really nice house, like a multi-level house, garage, and they surround the house and they start negotiating with the perpetrator. And it goes on for a long, long time. And the reason I'm telling you this story is I never knew Corporal Ballard personally. He started after I had left as a dispatcher. But once you have that bond, you have that bond. And I want to say the standoff went for like 18 hours or possibly more. And the Delaware State Police used some tactics that were unprecedented that I had never heard of any law enforcement agency doing this. It may have occurred, but I know for a fact it never happened in Delaware State Police. But the former colonel of the Delaware State Police was now the director of Homeland Security for Delaware. And the colonel for the Delaware State Police, I believe, was Colonel Nate. Nate McCune. I'm sorry for forgetting his name. I can see his face, and I almost wanted to say McMillan, but that was somebody else. But so Colonel, they did an outstanding job. The things they did. So I don't know all the inner workings, but I know during that standoff, I had a little bit of communication with some friends that were still active in higher ranking positions. And they gave me just a little bit of information, nothing that would have impeded the investigation. But what I did find out was, like, this part was just amazing. Like, you always hear and see things with the SWAT team. They have these, it's like a armored vehicle, like a tank, but it has like a ramrod. I forget what they call this. Somebody's going to know this, and I'm going to look like an idiot. But picture like a closed umbrella, and when you push that through the wall, it opens up, and it's like a big grappling hook, and you can just rip off like a whole side of a building or a garage or a wall. So they used that several times, but they had exchanged a lot of fire. And when I tell you a lot of fire, it was like unprecedented amounts of exchange with weaponry, law enforcement versus the perpetrator. So this is where it gets really crazy. At some point in time, I think it was overnight, they brought in the U.S. Special Forces. And they were better trained to do some of the things they did. But basically that house was just pulverized, demolished. They had special forces guys coming down, rappelling from the helicopter, deploying all kinds of tactical equipment. There was a lot of explosions, a lot of just craziness. But I watched the funeral procession on TV. Prior to that, I actually watched the procession where Corporal Ballard left the medical examiner's office and was being transported to and from that location to prepare for his final resting place. But it was just crazy. These people that talk about defund the police, like, that's the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard in my life. Here's a guy who was young, recently married, and just gave his all to try and protect the citizens of Delaware, and it's just pointless. It was for like a small drug deal, and just that house. I wish I tried finding some old footage. I know ABC 7 in Philadelphia had some tremendous footage of what that house. It looked like, well, to equate it with today's times, it looked like a really nice U.S. house that kind of like would look like what a house would look like in Ukraine. It was just destroyed. But I mean, they when they bring in U.S. Special Forces to take out a perpetrator, I salute them. I mean, my hat was off to them. I'm sure former Colonel Robert Coop had a lot behind that because he was director of Homeland Security at the time. I'm not sure if he's still in that position. Colonel of the Delaware State Police, Colonel Nate McCune, did an outstanding job. Everybody involved in that operation, they did put it to an end, and that subject's no longer around to ruin this planet. But I wanted to share that story. It's, it doesn't involve me directly, but like I said, I used to go to that Wawa probably 5 out of 7 days a week. And it was so weird. Like I wasn't living there anymore, but it's like, wow. It's like, it just like, it hit so close to my heart in so many ways. So anyway, so that's a story time that I don't like sharing. It's the reality of life in law enforcement. And so I encourage you, we all know a lot of police officers get free coffee or free soda when they go into, but, I encourage you, if you can find time, find it in your heart, buy them a cup of coffee, pay for that slice of pizza or, whatever it is, buy them a cheeseburger because, Corporal Ballard's end of watch was April 26, 2017. And I'm pretty sure he never thought that was going to be his end of watch, his end of his life. So these people do a lot of good out there, a lot of good things. So I hope you appreciate this episode. I don't want to say like the episode, but I hope you appreciate the content because it's sad, and it just, you can thank an officer in so many ways. Just say thank you. Please stay safe today. Whatever it is, just a little kind gesture. It means so much to them. And that's it. I'm done rambling. Peace out. Talk to you next time.